Hello, everybody, and welcome to Project 21's first podcast.
Coming to you from sunny Burbank, California at Burbank Studios.
I guess we should introduce ourselves to start it off. My name is Matt Conant. I am one of the founders of Project 21.
And I'm Stephanie Yuhas. I'm one of the co-founders of Project 21 as well. My background is animation.
My background's live action filmmaking. I went to school in Philadelphia at Temple University, and I guess several years out of school, Stephanie went to UArts, and a few years after graduating, we both formed this sort of idea together to create an organization to sort of help us and help our friends who were having trouble finding reasons to be creative outside of the confines of a classroom. And we just wanted to kind of find some inspiration, some motivation for people to keep that going.
Basically, and this is like 2006. Matt and I met on MySpace, which is like so dating everything. We realized that without the confines of school, of getting a grade or having a deadline, or having a community of like creative people who are making projects alongside you, it's really, really hard, and life gets in the way. So we came up with this concept called Project 21. Now, of course, we were inspired by other organizations like the 48-Hour Film Project, like the Ottawa International Animation Festival. But we, and you should definitely support those organizations. But over the last, over a decade that we've been running these programs, we're officially a 501c3 organization, and we've evolved into something way beyond just, hey, get together with the people who you already know and make a short. This is a community. For Project 21 especially, I'm not sure when you're listening to this, but I'm going to speak to the 2019 competition and probably beyond.
Yes, as of the date of this recording, all this information is accurate.
Yes. The rules are basically to make a short, 7 minutes or less. Film, animation, or for the very, very first time this year, we're doing, we're going to call it broadly immersive art. The last competition we ran, a transmedia project won, and that's what gave us the idea that maybe we should start allowing VR projects like 360 video, transmedia, whatever you call it, not necessarily that thing that pops in your brain when you say, a short, I know what that is.
Right. So film, animation, and we'll call it immersive media, which includes sort of 360 videos and VR. And we'll actually be talking about all of that soon, probably in podcast number 2.
But in the meantime, think of Project 21 sort of as National Novel Writing Month, NaNoWriMo, where the real goal of this is not to compete with other teams. Like, sure, of course, some people are competitive. Of course, there are some awards, but the real reward is finishing that project. And the thing that's different about Project 21 is that we only have one secret element that you need to include in your films. And every single year we make it pretty vague. And we do that on purpose because we want you to make a project that is genre agnostic. We try to stay genre agnostic so that you're not forced to make a Western if that's not your thing. We want these projects to make sense outside of the context of our organization. That's the biggest thing. So for the first time this year, we're using Film Freeway as a platform because it's, to us, because we're filmmakers ourselves, we've realized that making the project is half the battle. The other part is promoting it. So if we can get y'all to finish and then set up a lovely profile for your project, we'd like you to have that to submit to other festivals, to other, screening
other
events.
Organizations, other partners. We have some broadcasters who we've partnered with before. Generally, we call them screening partners because they could be any form of media at all. And it is one of the main reasons that we founded the organization are to provide inspiration to make a project, motivation, knowing that you have a deadline on top of you and a reason to keep creating, and then promotion after the fact and knowing that it's going to be be seen by somebody, because the worst thing is making a film and then having it, we used to say, lie on your shelf, but physical media is dead, right? So
Right. We don't want you to feel like you're throwing it off a cliff. I mean, I know, oh my gosh, Matt, what did you say? Like the first film you ever uploaded to YouTube?
My
right?
first film right out of film school was, and YouTube was like a brand new thing at the time. So I was really proud of it. I uploaded it to YouTube, and it sat there with like 8 views for probably, I don't know, a month or 2 months. And finally I had an email notification that someone had commented on it, and I was all excited, and I went and checked it, and it said, tat sucked, T-A-T. And that was all I got. That was my entire feedback. I'm like, well, that's my film career to date is right there, everybody.
Yeah,
Thanks for watching.
Thanks that guy. But it's funny because when Matt uploaded his short, and that was a 48-hour film project, film Tat Sucked, and I uploaded my senior thesis from UArts. I remember a lot of fellow content creators and my old professors saying, don't do it. Don't put it online. People are going to steal your idea, blah, 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 blah. And it was really a faux pas. So for the last, 10 years or so that we've been running this competition, we've focused on having our creators make something and maybe not put it online, like have a theatrical premiere. And that is starting to change. Now that Matt and I actually went on a festival tour with one of our own projects, we were finding that, even with like really great, really big festivals, a lot of the indie film projects were screening to empty theaters.
Yeah.
And I thought, this is not helping anyone. This is hurting the organization who's paying all this money for the theater. This is not helping the filmmakers. And even when there were people in the audience, at least with our projects, we tend to have like pretty full audiences for the premiere of the 21-day films. But when we surveyed them, we found out everybody was another filmmaker.
Right.
Or
and
friends and family. Right.
And I think that festivals still do serve an important purpose in that, like, it is sort of a curation process where you learn that these films have been vouched for by a third party, which is extremely important in terms of young filmmakers' careers and getting these things seen and possibly getting the next one funded or finding distribution. So there is something to that. But at the same time, the stigma that used to come with uploading your film online to get the widest possible view count, I guess, or the widest possible audience isn't really there anymore.
Right.
I think that a lot of what we're seeing is tending towards online, and there's a lot of promotion that can come from that, as well as being able to, through what Project 21 does specifically, we look for very specific target audiences, because we have had films that we've uploaded to 500,000 views sometimes, and it still doesn't reach a decision maker ever.
Right.
And one of the things we try to do when we select our judges is find people who actually have the ability to do something with the projects that they really like. So if someone were to make, for example, a 7-minute film for Project 21 that's a proof of concept of a feature that they want to fund someday, we have judges who work.
Oh yeah, like one of our judges, they made a blockbuster films, and they're actively, looking for writers all the time at other organizations. And so we actually met them through a pitch fest. And so again, I don't know when y'all will be listening to this, but historically, we've had judges from Amazon Studios, A Better Tomorrow Films, that's John Woo's production company. We've even had like really amazing judges who like Stereo D. One of them, one of the folks there specifically was looking for people to recruit for stereoscopic 3D for Marvel movies. So we're realizing like it's really hard to get your foot in the door with these folks. And we realize if you can make this project and get it in on time, you've got 7 minutes to get their attention, right? And, there's no guarantees in this world, but if one of your projects is good and rises to the top and they see it, we don't know what'll happen, but we want to give you that opportunity. And then in addition, just in general, we want to add that online element because I can speak personally. I was told to not upload my senior film, but because I did, it randomly got in the hands of a YouTube editor, and they featured on the front page of YouTube, and it got into the Nicktoons Film Festival that way. And then it was converted into a semi-popular blog. And I mean, like it was, whatever. And a publishing company approached us, and I got it published as a book. And then that was developed as an animated series, and that got optioned. And that animated series actually sold to a network. So, and that was, oh my gosh, that was over 10 years, right? But it started with, number one, finishing a short project and then putting it out into the universe and maybe not reading YouTube comments.
Yeah, and I think it's a good point. Like, you never know which thing is going to hit and how it's going to hit. And I've heard it said that every path is different. No two people take the same path into how this industry actually works or how they find their first gigs or their first jobs or how they get the next one. And I think, through our process with this, even since the last time we ran the competition, a lot has happened. We've actually, Steph and I have moved across the country. We're in Los Angeles now.
Right. We started this in Philadelphia.
Yes, where much of our core community still is. And I think...
Go Birds!
Yes, the Birds. And in all that time, the two of us have developed 2 TV shows through 2 very different methods. We've actually sold a show to Amazon in that time. We have a couple of other projects that are pending that are in development that we aren't allowed to talk about in this podcast, but every single project has developed from something different. Sometimes it's a pitch Bible, sometimes it's a short project, a short proof of concept, sometimes it's a web series. And sometimes it's through client work and contract work and stuff like that. You really never know which project is going to develop. So finding something, the goal of this is really not to put anything extra on your plate that you don't want. It's to give you a reason to do that thing you've been meaning to do anyway, and that you haven't really found the motivation or the team or the drive to do with the limited time and resources that everyone has.
Right. And so the number one thing we encourage you to do is jump into our Facebook group. It's Project 21. It's the word 20 and the number 1. Project 21 is a slightly different organization. Sorry about that, Project 21. But you're going to find a small but mighty group of folks who want to help you. That's a really interesting thing when you sign up and officially register as a team and you're announced, right? Whereas if you're doing this all on your own, all of a sudden, you've got to go like on Craigslist or, Mandy.com and cast and crew. This is a sort of backwards way of working. And we'll get a little bit more into podcast 2, into the pre-production and the specifics of how to actually get a project running. But the idea behind it is to join our community because there's people there looking to work with you. You don't have to reach out to them. They're probably going to start reaching out to you if you announce that you're part of this project, which is great.
It was actually something we found the first year we ever ran this. We expected it to run to just filmmakers and animators, and mostly that was who the team leaders were who signed up. But we started getting contacted by actors, by writers, by musicians who were all like, so you're telling me that there are going to be more than 20 teams of filmmakers sitting in a room together? And this was back in Philadelphia when we thought this was going to be a local thing, and before it blew up.
First person who signed up was from Japan.
And in Philadelphia, and I know in other cities they've run them as well. Launch events is what we called them, and everyone showed up to meet each other and formed these teams on the fly the first day of filmmaking to hear what this secret element was going to be that all of the films would have to include, and then on the spot being like, oh, okay, we know what the film is, we know who we have now, and you want to be on our team? Let's start this, let's do this. We got 3 weeks, and it was really cool. And it became, because so many people met each other in person and online, like as Steph is saying about the Facebook group, it's still a very collaborative community. It never felt like a competition. I know some of the filmmaking competitions I've participated in before have been very competitive or cutthroat, and it's not really a community feeling. And this one has never had that in my experience. It's a bunch of teams rooting for each other because they all kind of, the rising tides raise all ships phrase comes to mind, and everyone feels like they're supporting each other. And sometimes some filmmakers are working on 3 different films at the same time. So
Right. Actors love it. I think one year we had an actress say that she ended up in, I think, somewhere between 3 and 5 films because she really scheduled her time well, right?
Yeah.
So as we move into a community-driven platform, we encourage you to get out there, find your fellow teammates in your town. We want to serve, all the community. So far, we're again, it's October 1st right now, 2019. We have, I believe, 8 team signups from 4 different states. So we want to try to get everybody together and see what resources you can share. And we're doing all that on Facebook. And not just cast and crew, which is super important, but also stuff like locations. And sometimes you just need a volunteer who's willing to make, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for everybody,
Craft
right?
services.
Crafty, yes. We know everybody's making this probably for no money.
One question people probably have is, if I'm interested in participating in this, what do I actually do to sign up? What is the process? What is the procedure? You mentioned Film Freeway. How does that work? I've never used that before. Tell me a little bit about that process.
Well, we are using Film Freeway as an organization the opposite way of most film festivals. So this is going to seem a little odd, but we have the blessing of Film Freeway to do it, and we're really excited. What you need to do first is to sign up for a Film Freeway account. It's free. And you just fill out, your name, your contact information, et cetera, et cetera. Then you're going to make a new project. And we do have a tutorial on our website, a walkthrough with screen caps if you're a more visual person. But basically, you're going to make a new blank project, and the title, since you don't know what type of film you're going to make yet, you're just going to make it your team name, right? So some people use their production company name. Some people make up like a fun name, whatever you like. Keep it under an R rating, please. And then you just submit that. You submit that blank project file.
Right. Leave everything else blank. Scroll down to the very bottom. Hit the submit button. Again, the instructions are on the site, but pretty much it'll feel weird submitting an incomplete entry to a festival for a project that doesn't exist yet, but it works.
But by submitting that project, that officially registers you as a team. And so now you can announce, and we're going to announce that you're involved. And the idea behind that is to, have some accountability. Because sure, you know what? I'm going to tell you a secret. You don't actually need us, right? Like today, if you wanted to, you could use a random word generator, pop online, and make a short about whatever that is. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to make it. I'm not going to make it 7 minutes. I'm going to make it 70 minutes. Sure. If you want to do that, go ahead. I'd encourage you to if you, but for people like me, like I need a deadline, right? I need that validation of like somebody saying you did a good job, and like, here's like a scratch and sniff sticker. Like I got used to that from school.
Well, and personally, I can write something forever in a vacuum, but it doesn't inspire me the way that having someone else look at it and be like, you know what, that's a great idea. I want to see more of that. What happens in episode 2 or what happens in the next part? Like that made me really excited. Then that drives me to want to create more. Right.
Well, we heard feedback from previous teams who have competed, and you know what, a lot of people talk about content creation and filmmaking. To the point where it's almost like a lifestyle, like hashtag I am writing, hashtag am filming, right? But there's no structure, right? And we were told by folks who have participated in the past, just having a couple restrictions, like for this year, 7-minute limit, the secret element, right? Which in the past we've done sell between the lines. The first year was 21. So you can see that we're never going to make it like flying pigs that's, going to ruin your film, or we're never going to do something like the new McGriddle because that's gross, right? We're not going to make you make
We generally try to find words or phrases that have multiple meanings, can be interpreted multiple ways. So one year the secret element was jump. Some people picked the physical act of jumping. One team made a film about a jump drive, which is what they used to call USB drives back in the 2000s. Teams made something about jumper cables. Like, they went all over the place, and it was really a lot of fun to see how different people found a way to make a comedy or a drama or a sci-fi project just based on, with that word. And it doesn't need to be based on the word either. It can be as alluded to. It can be a general theme that you can feel throughout, or it can just be in a line someone says somewhere along the way.
But a magical thing happens, right, when you make a film with a secret element with, like, a couple dozen other filmmaking teams. You look for the element in each other's projects, and it's fun. Like, it's an exciting feeling to be like, woo, that's where they put it. That's where they put it. And we do have the award for best use of element. So there is some driving force. I know, like, a lot of people are like, well, but, like, what if somebody has a film from, like, 2006 and it has the word between the lines in it? Can they just cheat and compete? Like, for me, it's sort of like first off, it's never happened. But second, what's the point,
why would
right?
you? Right.
Like, you're only hurting yourself. It's, first off, really obvious when that sort of stuff happens. And number two,
it's shot in 4:3 and everything.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, nice pixels jumping everywhere. I don't know. But yeah, like, the whole point is to make something brand new, right? It's the same kind of thing of if someone's like, well, what if somebody cheated at National Novel Writing Month and just copied and pasted an old novel into it? You're only like disservicing yourself, right?
Right, you're cheating on you.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Why do you hate yourself? Question I ask myself every day.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, the whole point and the whole real mission behind this particular program is to help you create something new, because the best way to improve as a creator is to create. So if it makes you feel better to know that someone is going to watch it, and that you're not just going to upload it to YouTube to get 0 views, know that I, Stephanie Yuhas, cannot wait to see your project. I'm so looking forward to it.
And honestly, so am I, and more importantly, so are our judges who check out our website. You will see how awesome they are, and they have said, like, they love this kind of thing, and they can't wait to see the top stuff. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I have no power, but I'm just excited, right? So
having someone
but they
who
have
has
power
be excited is even more important.
Right.
So.
And then beyond, because I never want to promise, like, everybody who submits a film is going to get a TV show. Like, that's definitely not going to happen, right? What's really, really exciting, Matt talked about a little bit, is our screening partners, which you can also see our website. We have not announced our 2020 screening partners yet, but you can see in the past how many organizations have reached out to us and exhibited our 21-day films once completed. So because we're a platform and really focusing on the power of online and this new streaming festival that we're going to have and combining our communities, we are really excited to, expand our partner program, because they're the ones who have the infrastructure to get your film in. Like, right now we have a partner, Thriller Chiller. They had this beautiful, I forget if it's 300 or 450 seat theater in Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's a super fun festival run by some Project 21 alumni. And yeah, so that's one. In the past, we had a movie theater that just needed shorts screening in their lobbies. So some of the 21-day films were just screening 24 hours a day in the lobby of the Bridge Multiplex in West Philly, right? Yeah. We have another partner this year who has exhibited us many times, Lowell Boston from Optical Toys. That is a program, an award-winning program on PhillyCam. And that's broadcast, right? And every single year, he's like, great, the films are done. And he used to come over with a hard drive to our office to collect them all and then really look forward to reaching out to the filmmakers to say, you're an official selection. And it's funny because I think we didn't talk about this screening partner program a lot before.
Yeah.
So our filmmakers would be like, what? Is this real?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because sometimes we would contact a team 2 months after our competition ended and be like, hey, guess what? You've got 3 more screenings coming up. And they were just,
Yeah.
super excited and surprised. And we're terrible at promoting ourselves. So forgive that part of this podcast.
So I guess that's like the biggest part of like the FAQ, because I know folks, we are, changing this year. They're going to be like, but when is the festival? When is the premiere? The answer is it depends on your film, right? So our screening partner, Thriller Chiller, specifically screens films that are thrilling and chilling. Don't feel obligated to make a film that is thrilling or chilling just for that festival. But if you do, right, then great. That's a great partnership, right?
Right. You'll see on the page there are partners that are of all genres, of all types
absolutely.
of projects. And no matter what you make, there are places that would be looking for that type of project. And it's just finding that, making that connection. And that's a lot of what our organization tries to do. And we know that also entry fees can be extremely difficult for independent filmmakers and students in particular. On a budget, you're sometimes paying $50 or $75 each to submit to festivals, depending on the deadline, depending on the festival. And Project 21 can alleviate a lot of that by just submitting a batch of films that match the criteria that the screening partner is looking for, and so saves everybody money and gets a little extra promotion for your project, and maybe helps you meet that next decision maker that can take it to the next level.
Also, it's super fun.
It is super fun. So I think that's all we've got for podcast 1. Thank you for joining us. But in the next podcast, we're very excited. We're going to have our first podcast guest with Jenny Powell.
The Emmy Award-winning
Jenny Powell. And
That's
we'll let
right.
her introduce herself. And we'll also get into some of the pre-production and some of the things that you as filmmakers potentially signing up for this should be looking to do in advance of the 21 days of Project 21.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody.